Incoming transmission.
Hey everybody, this is Ed with My Figure Universe's Boosting the Signal, and I've got Scott from Starfleet Archives with me this week. Hey Scott, how's it going?
It's going pretty good, Ed.
Oh good,
It's
oh good.
going
We had a
pretty
little
good.
snafu with our sound there, but you know what is life without a little technical difficulties and our own little Uhura in the background fixing it for us.
Right?
So I've been looking forward to meeting you, Scott. I've been looking forward to talking to you and talking about this amazing collection that you have curated and you have shared on Instagram. And surprisingly, as I have looked over your Instagram, I see just a little over 300 followers. I see just a little over 47 posts, something like that. Not a lot of posts. And I think, how is this man not given all the love of the Star Trek community? And that is what boosting the signal is all about. We must give you the love, and we must bring you to the attention of the galaxy. So,
Well, I
how long have
appreciate
you
that.
been a Star Trek fan?
Pretty much my whole life. As far back as I can remember, I've always had Star Trek in my life. Some of my earliest memories as a kid, I remember my dad would be watching The Next Generation on the TV. He'd always record it, and I would run up to the TV during the opening when the Enterprise was flying by, and I'd always go, "Here it comes, here it comes." And he would pause the show, and he taught me if I didn't yell "Here it comes," the Enterprise wouldn't come. So
Oh,
that was
oh.
one of my earliest memories of Star Trek was running up to the TV and yelling, "Here it comes, Dad! Here it comes!"
See, and they were all worried about their lithium crystals, and it was always you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that's great, and that is the beginning of your Star Trek then. And did you just naturally progress? I mean, the influence of your father, and then you've amassed amazing collection of books. Especially you have, without you, which I can't even reach it now because it's out of my reach, but without your assistance, I never would have found a very particular book. Yes, that one right there.
Yeah,
So,
that's the one.
uh, but yeah, I love it. And what started you down that collection?
I guess what inspired me to start collecting was I come from a Star Trek family, so I went to my uncle's house as a kid, and he had a Star Trek room in his house, and it was just all kinds of paraphernalia and stuff like that. And I remember just being like mesmerized by it, and then growing up thinking, "Okay, one day I'm gonna have a Star Trek room just like that." And then I just slowly started amassing things, and it just exploded in the last
Wow.
couple of years. I guess with the books, that's when I really started finding my niche thing that I wanted to collect. I started reading them a couple years ago, kind of around 2020, and I realized that like not a lot of people collected the books, and they were really easy to find. They weren't super expensive, and they were good stories. I was starting to read them, and I was really enjoying like as I read them, I could hear the characters' voices in my head. So it's like playing an episode through your head, but just reading it. So that's when I was like, hey, I want to get as many of these as I can. And then it just became a thing. When I got so many, I'm like, hey, now I want to get all of them because I'm getting closer and closer.
That's great. How far are you away?
I'd say there are fewer that I don't own now than ones that I do.
I like that. I I'm right there with you. Like I would love to have them all. We don't have a lot of antique or used bookstores where I live, so a lot of it comes down to random finds or family or whatever the case may be. Um, or in the case of most of the time, my wife, where she works at a Christian thrift store, and
Oh yeah, I didn't mention that before.
yeah. So a lot of times people will bring them in, and they could sell them, they could, but we this is a little bit of what they call inside baseball, I guess. So
Mm,
where my wife works, if you care, I'll tell you. They a lot of times people will donate things that they cannot sell, be it movies that are R rated, whatever the case may be. So we have an agreement. I will go take them to a local uh, this place called Mega Replay. You drop off old, movies or whatever. They buy them back for you and give all the money back to them. So I get first dibs on Star Trek stuff. So yeah, so it kind of comes in handy. So like great copies like behind me, I have like Sarek and Probe and Mzadi and like full like unread hardbound copies with the dust jacket in pristine condition Thank you. Yeah, it's like maybe I read them as a kid a couple of times, but it's nice to have them, and I can appreciate that. I love the fact that you have a Star Trek room. I love the fact that you had an uncle that had a Star Trek room, and may I ask, is your uncle still with us?
He is, yes. Yeah,
That's
he's
good.
still around. I'm pretty sure he's still got a Star Trek room in his house.
That's that's good. I remember the first time I wanted a Star Trek room. I had all of my Playmates figures, and I didn't open them. I was very
Mhm.
much, you don't open these, you can't play with them. And
Yeah.
so my first wife was like, well, you can have the basement. I'm like, whatever. And I found a picture recently of that basement, and like all my figures hanging on the wall, and my one sad little chair in that basement. And I thought, well, I've evolved, but
Yeah.
but I know some figures you have in your collection you do not have opened. This is a question I have for a figure collector. When do you decide it doesn't get open?
It's tough to say. Like some of them, I just when they're so pristine and they still have like the store label on them and it says like Zellers, which is like an old store that's not around anymore. I
Yeah.
find that that's kind of part of the vintage aspect of it.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Then sometimes it's ones that I really want to have out and I just want to display them. So I don't really have a rhyme or a reason. I think it's just kind of when I'm inspired to open one, I'll open one. And if I kind of like displaying it with its package more, I'll just keep it in its package.
I admire that. Like I said, I still have a lot of mine still unopened, and I've been opening them up on Fridays. I try to do
Mhm.
the figure Friday. I want to show them off, and I've come to the realization it's like I'm closer to the end of my journey than I am the beginning of my journey, and I've spent 30 plus years with these in package, and I thought, well, I need to open them up, smell the 90s, and you know, maybe I can take some pictures. I kind of enjoy doing the pictures, and sometimes it's fun, but then there is a small part of me that's sad that when I do it because I don't have that, and then I see wonderful displays. I love the way you display your stuff. Like you'll have your plate. Like if it's Cisco, it'll be a Cisco plate with a Cisco figure in it, everything and wonderful. And I admire that immensely. I find myself looking at new shelving, going, okay, that's what I want. I need that. Inspiration. You are
Yeah.
an inspiration. You and countless others in the community. There's a few amazing displayers, I guess, for lack of a better term. But
Yeah.
but and I'm inspired. It's not. I don't want to copy you. I just want to. I want to homage you.
Yeah.
But
Well, imitation is the highest form of flattery, isn't it? So,
I agree. I agree 100,000%. And yeah, and I love seeing how you display your things. Do you have a favorite display that you have done? Is there one that just like you see it and every time you walk by it, you go, yeah, I did that.
hmm. I kind of feel that way about everything. Like just
So
sitting in the
describe.
Star Trek room and just admiring things. I guess I have in the Star Trek room. I'm pretty sure I've posted some pictures of it. The shelving up behind me here, I kind of have a duality where one side I've got like a bunch of Romulan, like I've got a Romulan warbird, and then I've got just some of the books, and I've got Sela and the scimitar, and then on the other side I've got uh Alar and a Vorcha class ship hanging and a bunch of Klingon stuff. So I've always really liked that one. Um, but yeah, no, I just kind of sit and look around at all of it. If I get kind of bored of the displays, I change them up a little bit. And then when it's fresh, it just kind of excites me even more just to sit and admire them with a new kind of setting. So it's always fun to change them up.
Do you ever have that one friend or a group of friends you bring them over and you show them, and that first time they see it and that reaction? Well, I mean, I know how that is. So I
Yeah.
didn't know if you have that. I had a friend yesterday call me and say that their daughter was dating a Star Trek fan, and they wanted to bring him over and show him my room. I was like, you haven't even been to my house in 2 years. Why do you want to bring some random stranger to show them? He's like, well, can you send me pictures? And my wife's like, don't send them pictures of our house. It's like, good point, but I want to show my stuff off.
Yeah. I've
Yeah,
got, I have one friend, she came over and saw my Star Trek room and she went back and for her, Star Trek to me is what Star Wars is to her. And so she went back home and was inspired to create a Star Wars room. So she's basically got the same thing in her house, but all the Star Wars stuff that she's been collecting.
Yeah, see, I love Star Wars. Don't get me wrong. I grew up in the '80s, and so Star Wars was my thing, and I had all the figures and everything. But Star Trek has always been here, where Star Wars may be here,
Yeah,
and
I'm same for me.
but I still get those people who are like, "Hey, I know you like the Star Wars or the Star Trek, so I got you this Han Solo." Thanks. Yeah, it's like you try to be as kind as you can, but you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know you shared that Sela picture at one point because I remember specifically you were my inspiration that I did not have a Sela. And I remember
Oh,
seeing your picture and thinking, okay, I've got to get her. And I went on the secondary market and I ended up picking up a Sela very specifically that day because of your picture. So I know that that happened. And that's happened a few times. Like I'll see people sharing. Like biggest one right now for me is like Tosk. I don't have a Tosk and I don't have a Hunter from the Gamma Quadrant Hunters, Tosk Hunter, whatever. I don't. And I keep seeing people sharing those. I think I need to buy those. Like why don't I have those? And I've tried to have every DS9 thing that I possibly can. So.
that
Um,
happened, I think, on the flip side for you. You posted a long time ago, I believe it was you. You posted a Garrick action figure
mhm.
and something about how Garricks are kind of tough to find these days. And I was at Star Trek Las Vegas and I went on a mission. I'm like, I have to find a Garrick action figure. I need it. And I went to every single booth looking for one. I didn't end up finding one. I still don't have one. But I remember
You
that was
don't
my
have a
mission that day.
Garrick?
No, I don't have a Garrick.
All right. If I find a Garrick, because I've seen him like 3 times since then,
Oh
if
yeah.
I find one, he's yours. I will buy it, no problem. Promise.
Excellent.
But yeah, I love Andrew Robinson. What was it? 2 years ago? Yeah, yes, 2 years ago. My wife got me the audio book, the Stitch in Time.
Stitching
Can't
time.
afford the book. I never had the book. It was when it came out, my son was born. I went through a phase where it was like I have to focus on work, raise my kid, and I wasn't buying a lot of collectibles. Like I don't have, well, I have one Enterprise figure, and that is a Dr. Phlox in the space suit, and it was randomly at a grocery store one time in a discount bin for a quarter. And I was like, okay, it's like, and
Yeah.
that's it. Technically, I have two because I opened one and I have one unopened. But, um, but so like I didn't get any Enterprise. I didn't get any. Like I have very little. What is it? Diamond Select figures, and that's only things I have bought in the last couple of years. When I see them,
Mm,
and I kind of stopped after Nacelle announced their figures because why?
yeah.
But but yeah, like getting the Andrew Robinson book was wonderful. And I end up like I didn't have a CD player at the time, but I went to a friend and I had taken the CDs and I ripped them and I put them onto a flash drive, and then I was able to listen to it, and it was
Oh,
wonderful.
nice.
And so that was about the time I got the Garrick.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I got the book. I managed to find it for still a pretty high price, but a price I was willing to pay on eBay a while back. And part of the reason I wanted to go to Star Trek Las Vegas that year was to get him to sign it because I was like, oh, that would just be the perfect keepsake. And I was so disappointed because he canceled at the last minute
Oh,
the year I went. And I was like, but
I'm sorry about
hopefully
that.
one day. Hopefully
That's
one day.
Yeah, it gets to that point where a lot of them are getting to the age where you don't want to miss that opportunity. Um,
Yeah.
like when Patrick Stewart was putting his book out, he was releasing autographed copies, and I couldn't afford it. I didn't get it, but a friend of mine went out of his way to get me one, and just to find out that Patrick Stewart wasn't going to do autographs anymore, is because of
Mhm.
his hands. I was like, okay, I'm always going to treasure that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and then I don't, for the most part, I don't have a lot of Star Trek autographs. I don't. I mean, with the exception of one, I can only say one Star Trek person I've ever met in person. So I've never been to a convention. I've never been
Well,
to an STLV, nothing like that.
yeah.
Um, so I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, but I have a few nice autograph pieces I treasure and I love that either I've been gifted or I have bought. So,
Mhm.
but I hope you get that Andrew Robinson. I really do.
One day. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
Well, I have a good luck here lately of people talking about wanting to meet people and then they end up getting to after they talk about it. So let's hope
Okay,
that
well,
luck is continuing, you know.
let's manifest that.
Okay, so now we've talked about, a section that you may love, but what's your prize? What's your
Ooh,
grail? I mean,
my grail.
look at it this way,
Yeah,
um, earthquake happening or something, and you're like, oh, I gotta save the baby. Screw the baby. I gotta save this. Yeah. So
yeah.
what's that? This.
Probably it's kind of behind me here. So this back here, it is a regular one uniform that was worn in the Wrath of Khan. It's got all its paperwork and everything. I managed to find it. It's kind of in a stroke of luck. A collector locally had it, and he was just kind of ready to pass it on and sell it. So I snagged it. So that's probably what I would grab and save.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's no argument there. That's a great piece. And so I'm going to assume it's not David's, and it's definitely not. I mean,
No, I've tried to find who's wearing it on screen. It's hard. It's got a little bit of like blood on the collar from when Connor kills everybody. So I've tried to match that up because it's a pretty distinct stain.
hmm,
I actually found it on Memory Alpha, scrolling through all these different links, and I found it for sale or posted somewhere back when they were selling it off or auctioning it. But I had a
that's
theory
awesome.
of one actor in the background that it was, but I think it ended up not being him.
Hmm. Well, that's
So
still
I
an
have to watch
amazing.
it one
That's
more
an
time.
amazing piece. I
It's very
love it.
cool.
I love it. That's great. Yeah, you don't really share a lot, but when you do share, you share some gold. And I always appreciate the things that you share. That's for sure. And if you've shared that, I've never noticed it. I mean,
I feel like I might have posted it once or twice, but I don't remember.
yeah,
Maybe it was in a story.
probably stories. Unfortunately, a lot of times with the algorithm, things get lost in the shuffle, and I
Yeah,
have that with people. I'll be like, "Oh, did you see that?" No, no, I didn't get on Instagram today. So
yeah.
unfortunately, that happens. But I'm really glad that you agreed to come on here. I know, you know, like I get the impression, and this is just a theory, that you're not out to, build an audience. What you're doing is for fun and for the love of it. And I appreciate that. Same here.
Mhm.
I've never never strived to have 1,701 followers. It just happened. And
Yeah.
um, boosting the signal. I'm not, getting thousands of views, but I'd like to help people see it. And I figure the internet's forever. But
Mm.
um, what is the one thing you would like people to know about you? That as a Trekkie, that if they were to follow you, that this is your domain. This is your, this is I am Scott. So
It's a good question. Um, I guess just kind of similar to what like you just said. I want it to be out there. I just want to show what I've got, show the collection off. I love like I guess when I'm finding a lot of these books, what always surprises me is like we talked about this earlier, like it's uncreased spines. Like these books have never been read before. And I'm like, these are great stories. Like I want everybody to know about these. I want everybody to read these and talk about them because like it's great content. So just trying to put it out there and share what I'm really passionate about in the Star Trek world.
I love that. When you talk about the creased spines, this comes to mind. And this is not set up. This is not something I thought about, but I have three books set off to my side. I'm going to grab them.
Mhm.
And this has happened to me. I don't know if this happened to you. Have you ever bought something and you go, oh, I love this book. It's so good. It's such a good book. And then you buy it and you go, oh, man, I didn't realize I had that already. And then, oh, you realize
Yeah.
there's a third one back there on another shelf. And
Yeah.
it's like they're slightly different. Like, okay, this has got gold embossed, this is gold flat, And then you think,
Mhm.
oh, how crazy am I? Do I buy them all? Do I get every version? The
Yeah.
only thing I did have to rebuy Star Trek Five.
Ooh.
This is the only copy I'd ever had. It was found at a West Virginia University library sale, and
Mhm.
I was like, I gotta have it. But then, I don't know if you follow Caveman Toys on Instagram.
Right. I might. It sounds so familiar.
He, a lot of times, he'll post things for sale that he finds very like a thrifting stuff, and someone had turned me on to him and said he was doing some Star Trek sales, and he was posting a lot of books, and I was like, well, I gotta check this out. And I ended up picking up a lot of books for like $22, not bad. And one of them was Star Trek 5, so I was able to get a better copy. And I've had these sitting off to the side because I end up buying that third copy of the other one. And so it's like, well, what do I do? And I was like, giveaway. Do I do a giveaway? I don't know. Nobody wants a ripped book, It's like, um, so I didn't know. But again, the original question: have you ever bought something you've already bought?
Many, many times. I ended up having to start spreadsheets on Google Sheets with all the books listed, and I highlight them in green when I have them because I was getting to the point where I come home like, oh, I know I don't have these ones, and I get home and I go to put them out. I'm like, oh, I do have these.
I
So
was
yeah,
doing
I've got
this.
multiple copies.
I'm a Google Sheets user as well. I used to use I you can't see it, but the far wall I have an entire wall of movies.
Mhm.
And so I was keeping track of what movies I had. A friend of mine turned me on to a new app. Let me see, what the hell is this thing called? Um, My Movies. That's pretty simple. And I started using that where I could scan the barcodes, and it would, it was a lot. It was a lot easier than the sheets. I'm not going reading. It was showing me the pictures, but they need that for Star Trek books now. Um, but are you a comic book reader? Do you ever buy the Star Trek comics?
So I haven't read very many of them, but I was buying this one person on Marketplace a couple years back was selling off like her entire collection, and she had like a massive amount of stuff. And she came out with this big box, and she had literally like every single Next Generation comic, like every single one. And I'm like, how much do you want for all these? And she's like, oh, $40. So I was like, done. So yeah, so I've got like the set. I haven't read them all. A lot of them I've ended up just because I love the artwork on the covers. So I just put them
Oh
in
yeah.
frames and kind of use them as decorations. They're all like every single one of them it has like a cardboard backing on it. It's in a plastic sleeve, like they're all mint condition. So I almost don't want to read them, but yeah,
Yeah,
they're very
I
cool. And I
I love that. I love that. The
yeah,
the first season ones of like Swole Picard, he's like all buff and stuff. That's hilarious.
yeah.
I remember those from '87 when they came out. I remember buying those, and they didn't survive. I ended up rebuying them as a child. I was flipping through and reading and ripping, but that's an amazing deal. Holy crap!
Yeah, I ended up like she had so much cool stuff. I have like over a dozen of the Hallmark Christmas tree ornaments that she sold me, I think $30 for just a box of them. Like it was a great score that day.
Man, I want her to be my best friend. Oh, but wow, that's a hell of a deal. I don't have a lot of the ornaments. Like I don't even think I have any in here. At one point, we used to put them on the tree, but we relegated down to a smaller tree, and I just like, well, I'll just display them. Like I do have a Cisco back here,
Oh
right
yeah.
there, but
Oh, I think I've
that's
got the same one.
yeah. And I bought that recently just because I had to have it, and didn't even realize he had the baseball behind him. I was like, oh, that's even better. But yeah, the a lot of my ornaments every year for Christmas, my dad would get me a Hallmark ornament, and like I got the Romulan warbird, I got the Klingon bird of prey.
Yeah.
He got me the Kirk and Spock jumping through the city on the edge of forever.
Oh, yeah.
So uh, things like that. And then when he passed, I was like, he was like, okay, yeah, sure, I miss my dad, but damn, I miss the ornaments. But but it's funny. I talk about, people talking about like, oh, I know you like the Star Trek. Here's some Star Wars stuff. His last action on Earth, okay, the last thing he ever did, he had bought me Star Wars on VHS, still with all the plastic on it, because he knew how much I love Star Trek. I was like, you son of a bitch. But it's like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Um, but what's the best item you've ever been gifted? Someone that legitimately understood that you love Star Trek, legitimately knows you, and
Yeah.
said, I'm gonna get you that. What would have that been?
One that comes to mind most recently, my sister got me for Christmas, like 2 or 3 Christmases ago, the Playmates transporter from Star Trek Next Generation. So you put the figures inside it, and then it lights up, and you press the button, and it's like a little special effect, but they disappear.
You have the best
So that
sister.
was really cool. Yeah, no, she knows me very well.
That's great. I agree. I love that. Now, so we know Star Trek, and let's ask some specific Star Trek questions to get to know you.
Okay.
What's your show? What is your go-to comfort Star Trek show?
Definitely Next Generation.
Okay, Next Generation. And I
Yeah,
assume that harkens back to your father and the fact that you controlled the warp core. Um,
yeah, exactly.
but then, so then what would be your favorite episode? Do you have one that, like, let's say you're having a day, you just got to turn that one episode on and make something better?
Comfort episode, I'd say Relics.
Really? And why is that?
Yeah. I love Scotty. I've always had a connection to Scotty. Obviously, my name is Scott. I'm a Star Trek fan, so the amount of times I've heard "Beam me up, Scotty" in my life, if I had
Didn't
a
even
dollar
think
for every
about
time.
that.
Yeah. So I've always had a connection to Scotty. He's always been one of my favorite Star Trek characters. So I loved seeing him on The Next Generation, and I just love that whole episode. It's just like it's not a super high stakes episode. It's kind of funny seeing Scotty interact with the Next Generation crew. I don't know if you've ever heard the audiobook of that episode read by James Doohan,
No.
but it's quite something.
Well, I say no, but I say yeah. I mean, like, I haven't actually heard it, but I remember it might even been you that had told me about it. And I remember YouTube has it. So I went and listened to him doing the other characters.
Yeah, his counselor Troy and his data voices are quite quite amusing. But no, I that's one of my favorite episodes. It's actually funny. A while back, I was at the dentist having something done. I think it was a filling, and they've got a TV in the ceiling, and it's got Netflix on it. And so that was my go-to episode because I hate the dentist. So I went and put on Relics. And it's funny because every time I go to the dentist, I go and I will go to watch Star Trek, and I must be the only person at that dentist that watches Star Trek there because it's always on the last episode that I watched.
Wow, I didn't know Star Trek was still on Netflix. I
In Canada, it is.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I didn't know you were in Canada. There you
I'm
go.
Canada.
Yeah, I don't I haven't even had Netflix in 6 years. So it's like people are like, "Oh, did you see that?" No. Mm. I haven't seen it. Like I stopped buying Netflix. It was like I remember when it was $7 a month, and then I don't know what it is now. I was
Nowadays,
like, no,
it's
I'm
it's
not
like
giving in
20
on that.
bucks now.
It's
Yeah.
insane. Yeah, I won't do that. But no, that's awesome. Now, so your go-to, your comfort, and everything else. This is a
Mhm.
question I like to ask. Not everybody, but occasionally I will come up with this question, and that is, what is the one thing that you collect that would surprise people that may not be Star Trek?
Oh,
Something that
ooh,
is personal to your life.
sorry, I put a collab. It's tough to say. I can't think of one. I like, no, I can't think of one.
Okay, well, no, that's a perfect answer because that
Yeah,
that means everything that you are, and you're out there. You're not anything more than what people see, and that's I get that, and I get that. Occasionally,
yeah,
I'll stump some people, and then there's people that
yeah.
are like, I've had people that are really excited to talk about things.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think of one. I can't really think of anything. No, not
I'm going to assume that your answer is going to be the Enterprise D, but I'm going to ask anyways. What
okay.
would be the ship you would serve on if you could serve on any ship?
Oh, I would say the Enterprise D. I wouldn't mind serving on any type of that era of ship, like the Nebula class, the Galaxy class, any of those guns, with the wood and the old school
Right.
look to them.
And carpet on the floor.
Of course, carpet. Yeah,
Yeah, you gotta have carpet. I appreciate that.
yeah,
Well, I mean, I really, I appreciate that, and the answer didn't really surprise me. I guess I kind of knew the answer before I went into it. Would you say that there is one character in the show that you, other than Scotty, that you
yeah.
find yourself gravitating towards?
Definitely Picard. He was always my favorite one growing up.
Okay, just the leadership aspect, and
Just yeah, like you didn't mess with Picard. Like when he said something, that was it. But he also, was compassionate, and you could have moments where he'd, you know, get to know his crew more and kind of have compassion for the other races and stuff like that.
yeah. Of all the things that you collect, and you have an amazing collection, what's something you're having other than Garrick action figures? What's something you're having trouble finding? Something that you're looking for? Is there like, would you like to put out there and say, "Attention, Star Trek community, I need your help." Is there something that you'd like to send out a distress signal for?
Express signal for. There's two things actually I can think of that are kind of tough to find. I mean, if I really wanted to find them on eBay, I could, but I prefer to find things kind of out in the wild.
Right.
One really cool thing that's out there, I don't know if you've heard of it before. There's a CD and a cassette, and it's Brent Spiner, but he's doing Sinatra tunes or old kind of timey songs, but he's doing it as Data, and
I
it's
just
called Old Yellow Eyes Is
talked
Back.
about this yesterday with my wife.
Yeah,
Seriously, old yellow eyes. Yeah, yeah.
love to get my
Well,
hands on that.
did you see my post yesterday or Friday opening up the pop? And it I when I had opened up this, I did the opening for
Okay.
that, and
Yes,
the
I think I did
music
see
I
it.
put in the
Okay.
background was Brent Spiner, and it wasn't from that album, but I spent
Mhm.
like an hour going through typing in every variation, trying to find songs from that to put behind the music for it. And my wife, I was frustrated. She's like, "What is wrong?" And I'm like, "I'm trying to find Old Yellow Eyes." And she's like, "Well, do you own it?" I was like, "No, I don't own it." I was like, and so I get that. And oh my God, I
Yeah,
hope you find it. What's the other thing?
right.
I'll calm down.
The other one is it's one of the rarer books. Can't remember the exact title. It's an original series one. It's Killing something. But it's the original printing of it. Um, had apparently some homoerotic stuff going on with Kirk and Spock that was
Ooh,
not okay in the time. And
okay.
so they ended up pulling that one from production and editing that out and then re-releasing it. So if you can find the original copy with that edited out part, that is a super rare book to find.
I posted a couple that were pretty homoerotic in that regard. Let me turn on my internet for a second and look back. The I know the Phoenix Saga, like they did the Phoenix ones. You've got those? Where like,
I think I might have one or two of those ones.
Spock's carrying Kirk's in his arms and stuff.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of leaning towards it. But yeah, let me check. I keep the list here. And you say it has the word killing in it?
I think so. Like I want to say the Killing Game or the Killing Time or something like that. And the cover
Uh,
is like Spock, and I'm pretty sure he's like shirtless with a cape on or something like that.
okay, well then I know I don't have that one because I'd remember that cover. Um,
What
let
is
me
it? Let me
see.
look it up.
I'll have to keep an eye out for it. Okay, so the one I was thinking of was the price of the Phoenix, and let me bring that down.
Killing
Uh,
Time, that's the one.
See, this is the one I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Killing Time. Oh, God.
But the rare ones, so you know how the old ones like that, they've got the gold print, and it's kind of if you run your thumb over it, you can kind of feel some texture.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about with this. The like this one, that's the
Yeah.
texturized. You can feel
Yeah.
it,
When
but
it's
this one's
raised.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I will. I'll keep an eye out for Killing Time because you know, yeah, I'm a collector, but if I can help someone else, that's the point. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, all right, I appreciate that, especially the visual. Now I know what to look for and stuff.
Yeah.
I that was my biggest thing. Like my not to get too personal, but my son when he came out, he he was I was like, oh good, I can I like, do you need any sci-fi like people to look up to? Because like I love John Barrowman. I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you all about like you know well, at the time I wouldn't say Discovery because they didn't exist yet, but Hugh Culver and and oh my goodness, that doesn't matter. I was like, so I'm like telling him like, oh, all this, and I was like, you remember when? And I'm like, you remember when Daddy would dress up as Captain Jack Harkness at Halloween every year? And he's like, yeah. I was like, I want to introduce you to John Barrowman. Oh, but didn't go the way I wanted. He's not into sci-fi, but my
Aw,
husband is. So I at least my son-in-law likes it, and I can talk sci-fi with him. So
perfect.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a win-win. Um, but yeah, yeah, I love the good choices for things to look for. Um, I don't really have any more questions. I don't. I feel as if I wanted to go into this blind with you. I wanted to have a nice like get to know you conversation. I wanted to pretend I walked on the street and said, "Hey, how you doing?"
Fair
And
enough.
but I would love to ask: is there anything that you want to talk about? Is there something that you would love to discuss?
Well, I've got a couple books here that I was just going to share, a couple favorites from my collection,
I'd love
if you're
to.
interested.
Well, I am very
Um,
interested.
so the when people ask me what my favorite one that I've read so far is, I usually say Masks. I don't know. Have you read this one before?
No, and I don't have it. I don't have
No.
that.
Good to know. This is a great one. It's kind of set in season two era of Picard of the Next Generation. But it's really cool. They go to this planet that was colonized by a theater troupe that left Earth way back in the day.
Huh.
And so it's very kind of folksy. Everyone there wears a mask, basically, as the title implies, and your mask that you wear basically dictates where you stand in society. Your job, basically, you have to wear a mask for your job.
Didn't they
And
kind of
so
do
the
that on
more
Voyager? They,
did they do one like that? I'm trying
well,
to
they did
remember.
one on Voyager. I remember where B'Elanna was in a theater troupe, and the like she had crashed in her shuttle, and trying to explain to like the person that was in charge that was like their king or whatever, and
Mhm.
very similar. It's like, but they were probably influenced by the books. I get it. That's a good idea.
Oh, you froze for a sec there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
But
you're
I'm
back.
just
You're back.
saying, it was a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's a really fun one. And you kind of the whole crew ends up down on the planet and they kind of got to work their way up through this society. They're all wearing masks. And it's just really fun. Picard gets a lot of fun stuff to do. All the characters they meet on the planet have kind of weird names based on kind of what their roles are in their society. So it's a really fun book, one that I would definitely recommend. And then just a really cool one that I found here. So this is one I found in a thrift store. I went back to this thrift store multiple times and I saw it there and I passed on it quite a few times because I wasn't really collecting DS9 books yet. And then I finally bought it and I kind of put it on display. It was sitting there. And I think a year after I bought it, I picked it up and I was kind of flipping through it one day. And I had no idea after all this time it was autographed by all three authors, including Armin Shimmerman,
Wow.
which I thought was just, that's probably one of the craziest finds that I've had that I didn't even realize was a gold.
It's gold just sitting on your shelf without knowing. That's great.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And here's a good question. Since now I know you're in Canada, are the
Mhm.
covers ever any different? I mean, like, and I base this upon when I was a kid. Used to, I don't know if you ever heard of a sci-fi series called V.
Yes, I have.
Okay. So I would go to the bookstore, we're talking I was 6, 7 years old, and I'd want to get the books because the show was on, but it wasn't. I didn't understand the difference between beta canon and alpha canon and anything like that. To me,
Mhm.
like you said, it was just further stories with the crew, but in the story with the show. So I would get the books, but they would be like pocket. They would say they were from Pocket Books. Then
Yeah.
later in life, I learned that there was a company called Tor that was strictly out of Canada, and so you would get the same books with different covers and with the Tor printing. And do you ever find yourself coming across that with Star Trek?
I've seen the Tor ones before. I didn't realize they were different than any other ones out there, though. As far as I can tell, all the pocket ones are pretty much the same.
Okay, I
At
know
least I've
on
never.
well, memory beta, they always are really good about posting all the alternate covers. And I
Mhm.
find that really helpful, especially on Thursdays if I'm posting about a book. I can find, okay, this is the what printing it is because it may not always say, sometimes maybe the book isn't too clear on it and stuff. But I appreciate that, and I appreciate, I appreciate their website and the people that do the hard work there because
Yeah.
you know it's good. But I didn't know, and with knowing, I know with action figures, I know that um, Canadian TNG figures always had that blue sticker on the front where it would like with the name. So like if you would have the figure, it would say printed, data or whatever, but it might have that blue sticker that's on the plastic that has the same name.
Yeah.
We never
I'm
had
looking at
that
one right
in
now.
here in the States. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
so that's how like if I see something, I'll go, well, that's a Canadian version. But
Well, and in Canada, it had to have the French on it as well, so that's also how you can tell.
I don't think I've actually seen the French, but you're probably right. It probably on the back, maybe. I don't
It's
know,
usually in
something.
like smaller text. It's not as bold, but it's like the law that it has to be there to sell it in Canada.
Yeah, good call. That's a good call. Yeah, that may be why the stickers are on there then. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's when it comes down to figures I wouldn't open, I've been kind of thinking about that since we talked about it earlier. And I think if there's probably one I definitely won't open.
Yeah.
Um, and that was a mistake. I don't have very many error figures, but the first thing I ever posted ever on My Figure Universe was an error figure. It said it was Spock, but it had Kirk in it. And it was
Oh,
the Playmate run that they did in 2022. And my wife was like, "Well, I'm going to get you all the figures for Christmas," and she got them, and I was like, "Well, you bought me Spock, but you bought me Kirk." It's like she goes, "Well, just open it." I'm like, "No, no, it's an error." It's like I'm
yeah.
done with this. You ever have you ever come across an error?
An error?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I got the most recent error I think that's come out was on the fan home Excelsior Mark II. Uh, on the back, it's really, really, really tiny on the back of the ship. It's accidentally labeled as the USS Excelsior.
Oh,
So
I didn't know that.
that's one of the cool error ones that I got. And they sent out a big announcement saying that they're going to ship everybody a corrected version, which I honestly didn't even know about the mistake until they emailed everybody to tell them about it.
Wow. Yeah, I love when you
Um,
share your ships. I have not bought anything from Van Home. Do you recommend them?
yes, I like them. They're bigger than the Eagle Moss ones. Like the standard size are quite a bit larger, so I really like that. Some of them are less detailed than other ones. Some of them have kind of little mistakes. What was the one that I got most recently that had a mistake on it? Oh, well, on the Elios. And this is an issue that Eagle Moss had too, though, where they have little divots for the windows and then they paint them, but the paint for the window is usually like beside the little divot where it should be. So it's a little slight misprints, a little stuff like that. But overall, I like them. They're really detailed. They're releasing really cool ones. The next one that I'm getting, because I'm on the subscription, so the next one to come out is the USS Harlan from Star Trek Picard, which I had to Google that one and it appeared as like speck on the screen for 2 seconds, but I'm hoping to see what it looks like when I get it.
Keep me a little bit here, if you don't mind.
Mhm.
Um, like is this something you have to subscribe to, or can you individually buy them?
So you can individually buy them. If you're subscribed, you get the new ship a month before it comes out.
Okay.
And then if you stick with the subscription service, there have been little exclusive gifts that come out. So I got like a Ractagino coffee cup. I got the Okunagram for the USS Titan. I
Wow.
got the USS Titan's little name plaque. And if I stick with the end of the subscription is ship number 20. And if I stick till 20, then I get a bonus. I believe it's a Pathfinder class ship, and it's the USS Drexler.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm holding out for that one.
Okay, so I guess subscription might be the way to go. My whole thing is like I've been very picky and choosy. Like I said, I'm a Defiant guy. I'm DS9 is my show. So like
Mhm.
I have an Eagle Moss Defiant back here. I have a 1701A. I have a Romulan scout ship, and oh, there you go. That's the extent of my collection. I don't have a lot of ships, and but then I see like, oh, the Enterprise G. I want the Enterprise G. I would love to have the Cerritos. There's certain
Yeah.
ones that that definitely get my attention. Maybe even the Voyager J, if they ever do that. I don't know if that's on the
I
on the
think
on
Eagle
the
Moss did
docket.
that one at some point.
Did they? Did they?
Pretty sure they did close to the end, so it might be tough to find that one.
Yeah. Well, there was. I talked about that Mega Replay store earlier. Someone had brought in a whole crap ton of Eagle Moss ships and sold to them, and they were selling them for $10 and $15 each.
Oh,
And I'm like, oh, I was like, and I didn't have any money that day, so I'll come back. They were gone. Yeah, they were gone. It's like, all
yeah.
right. And I was like, well, that's okay. They weren't anything major. It was like Klingon scout ship and a Discovery shuttle, like
Oh
a
yeah.
like the pod or something from the first episode. So nothing truly, no real loss. But
Yeah. I got lucky a couple of years ago when Master Replicas were selling off all the old Eagle Moss
yeah,
stock. At some point they lost the license to sell the Starship collection, so they just had to purge everything they had, all their inventory. So they were selling like if you held out like to the last minute, like it was going like 50%, then 70%, then 80%. And so I waited like right to the last minute and then I snagged like a whole bunch of XL ones for crazily good price because they were
wow.
so discounted. So that's
Yeah,
kind of what
Master
boosted.
Replica's got some good deals every now and then. I've only I've ordered quite a bit from them, but to say I've actually gotten things from them is a whole nother sentence. Because I'm still waiting on figures, still
Mhm.
waiting on pre-orders, but like books that got amazing, like the old the compilation books that they did for like the Eagle Moss ones when they would
Yes, I have
put
a
out,
couple of those.
yeah, love those. Man, what's something else? Like, well, Moopsy, I don't know, he's back there. It's like I love
Yeah.
my Moopsy. Um, but yeah, I can't really fault Master Replicas on much. I don't. I wish they would. I wish they'd be more communicative towards the community. I wish that there would be more, active discussions about, hey, we've got this coming out, other than the
Mm,
same thing over and over again. But
yeah.
that's fortunately on them. Master Replicas, if you're listening, we need more. Which
Come
I know
on.
you're not listening.
Not yet, anyway.
Hopefully they do. But I appreciate your time, Scott. I'd like you to take the floor and tell everybody where to find you and all the information that is vital to you that you'd like people to know about you.
Oh, me. Okay. Well, you can find me at starfleet.archives on Instagram. That's pretty much my only social that I'm using right now. But I try to post really curated, fun content showing off old school Star Trek stuff, new school Star Trek stuff, just really trying to share my collection with everybody, inspire people to start their own collections or maybe show people Star Trek stuff that they've never seen before and just get it out there and spread the Star Trek love and keep building the community.
Indeed, and you're an inspiration because you've inspired me to find other things that I need, and you will continue to do so, I'm sure. And I
Oh,
appreciate
speaking of
that.
which, I did want to ask you, I remember we talked about just after Peter David had passed, you were talking about the New Frontier books. Have you managed to find any yet?
No, because a lot like you, I could get them off eBay, but I tend to try to find things in the wild, as it were. and we ended up making a trip down where I live in Ohio. So we had gone down to Dayton and looked at some of the thrift bookstores that they have down that area. And do you know who Dave Chappelle is?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Dave Chappelle lives in a town nearby, and the town that he lives in, it's a hippie town. Well, let's put it for lack of better words. But they have the most amazing thrift stores, and they did. I did find a few new books, but they did not have those. That was like
Oh,
right there on my list of things to find.
wow.
Um, Thankfully, like you said, though, a lot of times people aren't buying these things up, and they're not really too difficult to pay for out of pocket.
Well, I've got these three here. It's numbers 2, 4, and 5 that I'd like to offer to you because these are doubles that I've got. So I'd like to help grow
Well,
your collection if you're open to receiving them.
much appreciative. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
definitely.
I'm grateful to all the sharing that you've done with my content and helping me out
Yeah.
and boosting the Star Trek community. So yeah, I'd like to add these to your collection if I
Well,
can.
much appreciative. I thank you. Yeah, and in turn, I I like sharing. I like sharing. Like yesterday, yeah, yesterday I was notified by Instagram I had shared my 15,000th post on in a story in a row. I was
Wow.
like, holy crap. I was like, so I'm doing all the math, and that goes back to over 3 years that I've been doing this. And so yeah, I mean I love it. I'm not doing this to make money. And there's no Patreon. I won't ever do a Patreon. That's my kind of part of my end goal is I will not do a Patreon. I'm not going to ask people for money, and then no slight on anybody that has one. I appreciate it, and I know it's expensive. Like reposting this, it's costly. It takes money, but like I don't have Netflix, so
Right.
instead of paying for Netflix, I'm paying to put this out there. This is my subscription service that I'm doing, and I want to do it to help other people. The world is too full of people that gimme, 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 gimme. I want to
Yeah.
give, 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 give. And I don't have
Hmm.
money, I don't have fame, but I have time and I can give my time to help others. And that's all I want to do. So yeah,
Well, that's awesome. That's what I love. I think that's the whole embodiment of what Star Trek's all about.
I agree. I agree. And it's those lessons I learned from watching it growing up, even if, others around me don't feel that way.
Hmm.
I don't want to change who I am, So, and I appreciate your time being on here and helping me, share this and share more um, Star Trek love for the world. So
Well, thank you for having me on. It was a lot of fun. It was a pleasure to be here.
I appreciate you. Stick with me for a couple minutes after we end.
Okay.
But yeah, and thank you for your time. May you live long and prosper, and
Peace and long life.
peace and long life. And you have a great rest of your day.
Cheers.